Hello, and welcome to Paul Speaks. Depression is a debilitating mental illness that can make daily tasks like showering or going to work difficult or even impossible. Some people have recognized that something wasn't right and they sought help from a local counselor or psychiatrist, but others aren't sure if what they're facing is depression or just a difficult bump in the road. This will go over 5 red flags of depression that you should watch out for. Some of these might come off as obvious, while others will surprise you. This is not meant to diagnose you, nor is it meant to replace the advice of a physician, counselor, or any other medical professional. It's merely meant to give you some information about depression and how it can manifest. If you are concerned that you might be clinically depressed, then it's in your best interest to seek medical guidance and see if you meet the diagnostic criteria for this or any other disorder. And now, let's begin. Number 1. Weight changes. How has your relationship with food been recently? If you're finding that you're either overeating or can't stand the thought of eating, then you may have depression. According to the DSM-5 diagnostic criteria for major depression, a weight change of 5% within the last month is one of the possible symptoms of this mental illness. While many people think that overeating is common for depressed individuals, as they desperately try to make themselves feel better, the opposite is true as well. Many depressed individuals can't summon the energy to eat and skip many meals. It's common to eat more during special occasions like birthdays and holidays, or maybe you're going through a breakup or the death of a loved one and can't bring yourself to eat anything. If this continues for several weeks, then you may want to be evaluated for a depressive disorder. Like with many other red flags here, a day or two of the symptom isn't enough to warrant a diagnosis, but they are still worrying signs to watch. It also isn't a concern if you are purposely trying to either lose or gain weight. This is more about losing control and overeating in a desperate bid to feel better, or avoiding it because eating is just too difficult. Number 2. Changes in sleep. Much like with eating, changes in your sleeping habits can be indicative of depression. When you think of someone who's depressed, you probably think of someone who sleeps 10 or more hours and still feels like they haven't gotten enough sleep. That's certainly possible and is a cause for concern, especially if this has occurred for several weeks. However, the opposite is also true. Many depressed individuals get reduced sleep and feel lethargic and irritated when they wake up. In this case, you may find yourself getting up 2 hours early or more and being unable to fall back asleep. It's not too bad if this happens once or twice, but 4 more times throughout the week can be a major warning sign to pay attention to. Some also experience this in reverse and have a hard time getting to sleep, which still results in losing about 2 hours of sleep in general. Even if it's not depression, sleep issues can affect your whole day at work, with friends or family members, and almost every other aspect of your life. Consider seeking medical assistance if you have persistent sleep problems. Number 3. Slow movements and thoughts. You don't know why, but sometimes you feel your body moving much slower than it should. Some experience this as an overall sensation where everything moves very slowly, while others feel it as leaden limbs, which is more common with dysthymia, another type of depression. It's not just physical movement. This can also manifest as slow facial expressions, emotional responses, or even thoughts. Depressed individuals can find it nearly impossible to concentrate, or they might be exceptionally indecisive when the situation doesn't really call for it. Even easy decisions take much more effort and time than they really should. In this case, it may feel like everything takes much more effort than it should, and the world is moving too fast and expecting too much from you. Many depressed individuals describe feeling chronically fatigued, and there are no improvements even with adequate sleep, food, and relaxation. This can be a sign of other medical issues, or you could be in the process of grieving, which is usually temporary and is separate from depression. However, if this occurs more days than not for several weeks or more, then you may want to be evaluated. Number 4. Irritation. If you're feeling irritated all the time, then it might be a red flag for depression. This doesn't count if irritating or frustrating events are happening to you, but rather if you feel irritated for no logical reason. This manifests more commonly with men and children, but women experience this as well. This irritation can range from just feeling overall grumpy to persistent anger, angry outburst, or exaggerated frustration over minor issues. This often stems from being overwhelmed, not having enough mental resources, and not knowing how to deal with all these feelings. Many people are familiar with how sadness, crying, feeling empty, and feeling blue are associated with depression. But irritation is just as strongly associated with depression and other depressive disorders. Again, this isn't if the irritation is due to annoying circumstances or if it only happens once or a few times here and there. If you are feeling persistent irritation from relatively minor cues or in the absence of any cues, then this could be a red flag for depression that you may want to seek medical guidance for. Number 5. Not caring anymore. This is a major diagnostic criteria for depression, and it can make life feel very unfulfilling. Also known as anhedonia, this is the loss of pleasure or enjoyment in activities you once enjoyed. For some, this can manifest as no longer enjoying hobbies or activities that once brought you joy and made you happy. For example, if you loved bowling or reading a few months ago, but now get no enjoyment from them, then this could be a cause for concern. This can manifest in many areas of life, from going outside to favorite hobbies and even to sex. Many depressed individuals express that they just don't care anymore. It makes life very draining because there are no sources of hope and joy, and it makes everything a chore, just something else to drain your dwindling energy. Sometimes you're burned out from a hobby, or just don't feel like doing anything for a week. That's pretty normal. If this persists for many days or weeks and you can't find something that replaces those feelings, then this might be a worrying sign of depression. If you are experiencing this, a counselor or psychiatrist should be able to pinpoint exactly what is going wrong and find a way to improve your quality of life. Sometimes medical management is necessary, but many people benefit from talk therapy, CBT, and other common counseling techniques that rewire the brain and make life worth living again. That concludes our list of 5 red flags for depression. Many of these are normal and common to the human experience. We've all stuffed ourselves with too much food, stopped enjoying an activity, and felt irritated for no reason. The major difference between a normal feeling and depression is severity, duration, and reason. When it comes to depression, these feelings are often prolonged and last for weeks or months, and there is persistent lethargy regardless of sleep and relaxation. It's not like losing a loved one or being fired where you have a reason for your bad feelings. Depression is a clinically significant disorder, often in the absence of an event or lasting even after the event has resolved. If any of these red flags describe your current situation, and you can't seem to figure out why you feel this way, then you may want to speak to a counselor or other medical professional. They can determine if you really are experiencing depression, another depressive disorder, or if there is anything else going on with you. I plan on doing other lists like this for anxiety, PTSD, and other disorders. Let me know in the comments which you would like to hear about next. Be well, take care of yourself, and goodbye for now.